Welcome to Bitching and Moaning, the podcast where we talk shit, spill the tea, and say all the things you're definitely thinking about but shouldn't say out loud.
We're your hosts. I'm Stephanie with Patricia, and together we're your weekly dose of sass, laughs, and just the right amount of bad decisions.
From sexy stories to petty rants, nothing's off limits. So grab your wine or your drink of choice, loosen your morals, and let's get into it.
Because if we're not bitching,
we're probably moaning. Welcome to Bitchin and Moanin'. We are here today with you guys. We're so excited, as usual. We had some really great things come up in the last few days that we're going to share with you guys. Yep. But for today, we are going to talk about something interesting. You know, you'll hear about. Let's talk about our wines.
Yes, let's talk about our wines. Let me get my little card here so I can read it to you what I have. So I have a wine that's out of South Africa.
Okay.
Van Loveren Family Vineyards, and it is a ravishing rosé. Mine happens to be non-alcoholic because when we talk about our stuff in, upcoming episodes that we just went to, I thought I needed to decompress a little bit. Had a lot of fun while we were gone, so I'm like, let me try non-alcoholic. But it's basically, it says it is elegance of wine without the alcohol, for one. Has bursting bright strawberry notes and delicate floral aromas.
Yum.
And it's also 100% vegan friendly. So I thought that was really nice to know because some people are vegan and might want to know if there's a wine out there for them. So and then it says to match with your favorite pastas, meat dishes, and pizza.
Oh God, you're making
Who doesn't
me
love
hungry now.
pizza, right? So I'm excited to try this one, see how good it is. So,
very good,
all
very
right.
good. So I have a white today, which is kind of unusual for me because I'm a red girl. But this is from a cute little winery in Galena, Illinois. And took a little trip there a little while back. And bought a bunch of wine and brought it home with me because, I love my wines.
Yes.
And this one, you will really be surprised because it is a jalapeno wine.
Yep.
So I love spicy stuff. We live in
you
Texas. I'm Hispanic. I'm Colombian, so I like that.
Yep.
Spiciness. But it's also a little sweet. And I serve it cold. It's better cold.
Right.
Or chilled, let's say.
Yeah.
And so it's really great. So it's jalapeno from Galena Winery, and we're gonna maybe spice it up today, aren't we?
Yes,
so cheers.
spice it up. So cheers.
Oh, that's so good. Ooh,
yummy.
Alrighty. Well, let's get into our bitchin'.
Alrighty.
What do you got today?
So, kind of on our weekend, there's a lot of things that happen, but I started thinking about red flags in dating or even in relationships once you've been in one for a while.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, well, what are some of the things that I missed? I'm bitching because I kind of wish somebody would have told me early on in life what to look out for, right? You get caught up in the newness of things like that. So this one is probably not one that most people think of. I'm going to bitch about it because if I would have known, I would have never gotten a relationship with this person. This is like one of the first things you want to do. So basically, doesn't show you where he lives or she lives, whether it's an apartment, condo.
Did you have a couple of those?
Yes, I did. And I was so wrapped up in being in love or what I thought was being in love. That's like, well, just come over to my place. And they're like, oh, well, my house is kind of messy or whatever. I'm like, oh, that's all right. Just come over.
Yeah.
Well, once you start living with somebody, you start looking back and going, oh, was their couch broke? Did they have trash all over the floor? Because they are just a messy person. And at some point, like in kitchen, they're kind of just dirty and it gets gross, right? So for me, that was like the first thing on the list. I wish somebody would have told me, check out their place, see if they're at least they try to tidy up, or is it when you walk in, it looks like a hoarder's house? What are you working with, right? Because I think that says a lot about if they have pride in other areas or they're proud of other things.
You're hitting home here a little bit. Too close to home. Not me though.
Yeah, so that was one. So I had that one on. So
let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So I said a lot.
Yes. No. So it's kind of funny because I'll just, again, our husbands know that we're talking about them and our families and all that, and they love us regardless.
Yes, exactly.
And my husband, he's an amazing man. He is. He's like one of the smartest men I've ever met. And, he is a little messy. And it's funny because when we were first hooking up, let's just say it what it was.
Be real, girl.
We were hooking up. And so I would come at night because I had kids in my house.
Right.
So I would come at night and I would either be in the pool or the hot tub or, whatever, or we'd be somewhere else. And so I really didn't look at his house. Right. It was dark and I didn't think of, whatever, we were just having fun. We were both single and we were having a good time. So we weren't doing anything bad. And then when we finally decided to go, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make this happen and whatever. I came in the daylight. My God. I should have came in the daylight before. I literally came in the daylight. Anyways, I came and I was like, what the hell? So my mom was a neat freak. She was just, you always smelled like Clorox in our house or some shit like that, But I came in and I was like, wow, because he lived with his two sons, so 3 bachelors, they were just worried about work and school and stuff. So the house was just, it needed a woman's touch.
Yep.
So I came in and I touched it up. And it's kind of funny because we laugh a little bit about it now because his parents were so happy that I was coming in and taking over. And then most recently, since we got married a couple of years ago, and his one of his sons also got married. Him and his wife came over, and we were just chatting. And I said to him, "Did you ever think there was going to be wedding pictures on the mantle or family pictures?" Because when I came here, he had collection of vodka bottles.
That's such a bachelor. Oh my God.
Fireplace mantle. There was vodka bottles of all sorts of colors and I'm like, and now he's not an alcoholic by any means, but it was just, he liked the bottles. Like, I got wine, so I'm not a wino, but I like wine. But it was funny because there's no vodka bottles there anymore. There's family pictures, our wedding pictures there, and it's actually kind of funny. So, and I cleaned up this house. It took me 2 weeks. I actually had to have my mom come with me. Yeah, so I'm like, can you come help? And we just cleaned up and got organized, and we were able to see countertops and all that. But you're absolutely right. You do need to see the person's house because not only are they dirty, but what's happening over there? Do they have a chick? Do they have a roommate?
Yes.
Is it smoky? Is it, what else is happening? Because if you are going to have something serious, you need to know that that's how your life is going to be. Now, mind you, I've trained my husband pretty well. We're going to get into training significant others in another topic. But, I think he likes that it is cleaner. Yes. And, we keep the house very clean and stuff. And try to keep the clutter out. But, we're only human too.
I think that you can discern between somebody's had a really busy week at work and they haven't done their laundry versus filth and disgust. And so my ex was more on the filth side. He liked to dip tobacco, which in Texas, and I said tobacco, not tobacco, because I'm in Texas, right? Tobacco. So anyway, and he was just not clean with it. And it was, that was one. I mean, it's people, you can, when you have habits that are different, you may not like them, but it's just how do you do some of those habits, what you can live with. And that was just, the filth, that unorganized, okay, you can work on that. But if it's filth, I can't do that. So mine was on that side of the things. And I was like, damn, I wish I would have known that, because that would have been, that's number one. Sorry, gotta go. So,
all right, what's another one you got?
Okay, another one. Another bitch one. Insecurities. Oh, and God, where I come into insecurities is and we know this firsthand, if he doesn't allow you to bond with your girlfriends and have girl time, alone time with your girls. Yep. We need that just to release, vent, whatever. Go to the movies, have a dinner, whether it's home, whatever we're doing. Yeah. We need that female relationship, that bonding time. And if your boyfriend, husband, whatever it is,
significant other, even if it's your girlfriend,
so I'm these are more, I say men, but this could apply to either way. Anybody,
your significant other.
Yeah, whoever you're dating. But yeah, the insecurities. We ran into that with an ex of mine where he was so insecure. It was almost, he felt like he was being cheated on because we were so close. And it's like, a man should, whoever you're with, your partner should build you up and encourage you to be independent and have a life outside of them. So any insecurities is a huge red flag because that could flip and turn into controlling behavior.
Yeah.
And if you get, let's say you go move in, get married or whatever, it could become isolation because it's all about them and they want to take you away from everyone. So those you have to be really careful about. So yeah.
That controlling thing is, is very interesting. I could say that when I had one relationship when I was younger, I was probably, before I moved here, and then I moved here, I was probably like 18, 19. I was super insecure. Even though I was really popular when I was younger and stuff, I was just really insecure because I think the person I was with, I want to say, made me insecure.
Yes.
It was like, I was always the crazy one. I was always the one going like, he was like, oh, you don't trust me, you don't trust me. And I'm thinking, well, I don't know, you kind of do weird things that make me not trust you. And then finding out he actually did cheat on me for a long time.
The gaslighting
was really bad. So I think I vowed from there not to be insecure about anything or anybody.
Right.
As I've talked about in previous episodes about, different relationships I've had and situations, being unfaithful and things like that. Let me just tell you, people, let me just tell everybody that if somebody wants to cheat on you or somebody wants to have an affair emotionally, sexually, whatever it is, they will find a way to do it. They will find a way to do it. So there is absolutely nothing you can do about that. Yes, you can have a great marriage. Yes, you can be together with somebody you love. But if a person gets into their mind that it's not working out, it's not going to change, they're going to do it. And let me tell you, there's a lot of people out there that will do it. That will do it.
Yeah.
Conferences, work conferences, whatever, they'll do it. And so I think that's what kind of made me like not be insecure anymore, because I'm just like, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. If you want to be with me, I'm lucky and you can be with me. And, and you're lucky too. But that insecurity stuff doesn't fly with me and the people I'm with. I have to, I think now, especially too, because I lost my husband, my second husband, he's always going to be part of my life. So I came across some relationships where that was an insecurity for the person I was with, because they always thought, well, I can never be that person. I can never reach those, expectations. But I'm like, you're right. You can't. But I don't want you to.
Right.
I want you to be who you are because I love you.
Yeah.
So that's when my husband now, sometimes it creeps in, but most of the time he's just like, he understands, you know. So that is definitely a red flag, and especially with your girlfriends too. We spend a lot of time together. We do stupid, goofy things. And, I even, from our goofiness this weekend, which we're going to have an episode on, I came home, showed my husband every single picture, every single video we did, and he thought it was hilarious, because, if we wanted to be together, we would be together.
Yeah, we would be together, a long time ago.
But we do joke around that. They say men die before women do when in marriage, because we drive them crazy. And then we always joke that we'll be the 95-year-olds together in our little old folks home. Well, no, in our little condo.
Yes, in our
Miami.
condo. Yes,
together. But yeah, they're not insecure, so that's why we married them. So.
Yeah, it's like one of my exes. We joke a lot of times on things. We'll sign things LL kind of, or on our personal Facebook pages or something. We put, love you LL for lesbian lovers, because he really thought, he was jealous of just how close we are. That he was convinced we had this secret love, whatever, on the other side, when we were hiding. We do, but we're keeping it PG today. But it's just crazy. It's like there was no reason for that to happen, and then it turned into this huge thing because he was so insecure for whatever reason. So no, support women in relationships.
Exactly. But I also want to say that, we've told you guys we have lots of kids. I have a son, a son, 2 stepsons, and 2 daughters. And from my point of view, I always tell my kids that it's important to have female and male friends. And in your relationships that you end up having, you need to make sure that your significant other understands that, but you also need to make sure you have boundaries.
Yes.
We have male friends, we have female friends, and we know our boundaries with our friends. And they are part of our significant others' lives too. You know, they might not hang out with them. We might just hang out with them, but it's just respect. And so I've taught my kids that, you know, it's okay to have, and they need to teach their significant others that it is okay.
Right.
They can have they can have friends too that are male or female, but they have to know their boundaries too. So.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, another one. So this one was a big one for me. I bitch at myself, you know. I think a lot of people get this, where you ignore the twinge that something feels off.
Like the ick is
it's like an ick, or you just go, ooh, that was weird. So an example, one of my exes, I never snooped in a phone way back when we first started dating, whatever.
Yeah.
You didn't have any of that, right?
Right,
you know?
right. We didn't have phones.
No phones, no texting, whatever. Yeah. Well, and I just, for some reason, something fell off, so he didn't have a passcode or anything on his phone, so I went looking, and I found the last relationship before me. And she was like tired or something the weekend, and she's like, you know, whatever. I don't want to spend time together. You know, I just need a minute. He's turned it around on her and started making her feel bad because she wasn't spending time with him. Again, probably insecurities in there too. And just the way the text messages went, and this was early on in this relationship where I just went, why is he talking to her like that? Yeah. I didn't get what he was trying to portray her as. Yeah. She was crazy or whatever. And it just felt off. Right, so I had a lot of those things, but I had my rose-colored glasses on, and so I just kind of pushed it to the side. Oh, I'm different, whatever. I guess she's crazy, however you want to rationalize it. But to me, listen to your intuition. If something feels off, even if you can't define what that is, there is something off, and that just find a way to end it and move on. Don't try to figure it out, because it's not going to make any sense to you,
or don't try to change it.
Or change
not going to change,
right.
You know,
something about that is telling you that you need to move on, and it's okay, end it and move on. So listen to your intuition. That's a big one. I should have listened to. So you want to add anything to them?
That's good, yeah.
Okay, butterflies are deceiving. I hate fucking butterflies early in a relationship, because nobody ever told me that butterflies aren't love. I
told you the other day.
Well, you did.
It was like a scientific thing that I saw on. I'm a 2020 viewer. You know, primetime news. I love all that stuff. But somebody, like a doctor, had said that is not, butterflies are not that exciting feeling that you're supposed to get. It's something technically in your body that is saying there's something wrong, and
something's
I'm like,
off.
what? I never heard that before.
Yes,
this was a doctor on the news. Could have been fake news. I don't know, but I believed it. And it's kind of funny because I've gotten those butterflies in different relationships, but mind you, they didn't work out.
And they're addicting because it's new and it's exciting. And when I was very young, when you first fall in love and you're a teenager, it's like, or you think it's love, right? Oh, I love him. I have butterflies when I'm around him. That stuff, it fucking sucks, because you know, as you age, you think that's what you associate love to be, without going, okay, let me separate this feeling from, let me think about what's really happening. Are they a good person or whatever? So do I like butterflies? Yes, they were great.
Of course you do.
However, it's like I interpreted them as something else, so I think it's important to kind of make sure what are those butterflies are about, or try to figure that out. Don't get so wrapped up in the emotion of that you overlook so many other things. So butterflies, you have to watch out for that.
And let's just explain a couple of things. We've lived a couple of lives. We've been married a couple of times.
We've been divorced. I say I divorced a couple times.
You know, and we've had a lot of relationships in our time when, you know, we were teenagers once, and we were giggly and and this is the greatest thing in the world, and he's going to be the love of my life, and he wasn't. And you know, but we also have had like really great friendships with some of the people we've dated, and continue to be friends with them, which is another thing that I've told my kids. You know, not everybody agrees with me on that because some people can't handle it.
We disagree on that.
I think, I think we definitely disagree on
that.
We'll
talk about that at some point.
Yeah, but I still have, good friends that I dated when I was a kid, if you call that dating, you know. And I'll be honest, I have one that I'm going to shout out to him. He was like, I thought he was my first love, puppy love. Yeah. And he was just beautiful. He looked like he belonged on the beaches of California, a little surfer guy. He had this great blonde hair, and he was just so nice. So nice. He had a nice family. We were kids. We were like in 3rd, 4th grade. I loved him. I'm like, he's going to be my Prince Charming forever. And you know what? He moved to another area, and we are still friends to this day. Yeah. To this day. We talk often. We talked several times a year. I love him as my friend, and I talk to my husband about him too. And I just think that they're not butterflies. They weren't butterflies. They were just like, wow, this person is such a good person, right? And he turned out to be a good adult too. You know what I mean? Yep. So maybe one that got away, but I'm still glad we're friends.
Yeah. Okay. So this one is a big one for me. Is if they're not a gentleman. Chivalry is not dead. They need to open doors for you. Treat a lady like a lady. Even though we may be independent, strong women, we still like a man to open a door and still treat us like we're feminine, right? There's some things that are just nice and polite. Right. So I think about that. Compliments is another thing. Yes. If a guy is complimenting you in the wrong way, I think of this. So
backhanded compliments.
Yeah, and then mine is also like, okay, I like to be, I'm stunning or I'm beautiful. But when you have some, and maybe, people drink too much or whatever, and they're like, damn, baby, you hot, It's like how you say things. It's like, maybe in my 20s, I'm still like to be hot, but it's the way you say it, It's not a creepy hot. It needs to be a flattering. So compliments, anything that has to, there's a Southern gentleman. I have definitely a Southern gentleman married to open doors for me, compliments, kisses my hand, which I absolutely love. So there's just things about being a gentleman. So if you're going out on a first couple dates, and the guy is just all over the place, doesn't even say anything nice to you, is kind of rude to the servers, there's a lot of indication that if it's happening that soon, what are they like when you really get to know them? So I think just gentleman needs to be a gentleman, and if they're not, then cut your losses and move on, because worse crap is coming. Right. The way I see that.
So it's kind of funny you say that. So growing up in the North, I grew up in Chicago, that's not what I grew up with. Everybody was very skeptical. Everybody was like, what are you out for? What do you want from me? I mean, that's how I grew up. I used to go to bars when I was, of age to go to bars, and girls would fight. Why are you looking at me like that? What's the deal? And, it's like, oh my God. And why are you looking at my man? And, just weird shit. No open doors. No, we never said yes, ma'am, no, sir. That was just like, if we said that, it was kind of like beneath us, like we were beneath people, Wow. So I learned living in Texas. Obviously, that is a wonderful thing, very respectful, which I taught my kids to do that, and my son to open the doors and be a gentleman and pay for things. Sometimes that fires back on, backfires on them, but and I've here all the people I've dated, open doors, open cars. And another thing I learned was when you're getting off an elevator, all the guys here always let women off the elevator first.
They do, yes.
And you go anywhere else, man, those guys are jetting for the door. Right. And it's like, just be nice.
It's polite.
Be polite. I hate that. It's just like, but you can't tell somebody in the elevator like, hey, let me go first, because they don't understand. If they're not a Southern person, they don't get it, you know? But you do see that happen a lot. I saw that happen sometime this past weekend when we were at and stuff. But yeah, definitely, I love a gentleman. I think most women do. Yes. Even though we are coming off as very strong women, and yes, we want to make our own money. Yes, we want to be out there. It doesn't change the fact we are feminine inside, and we love that little attention of pampering, just like, hey, I got you. Yes. I got you with this door. Yeah. I got you with this elevator. Let me hold this for you. When it comes to dating, okay, you don't have to pay for every single date. Right. But, I think that if you and your partner have a conversation about it as a gentleman, you can say, like, maybe the first date's on me, and then we can talk about how it goes from there on, you know? I'll give you an example, like before my husband and I got together, we were obviously dating people online and all that, and I got his perspective because, you know, women who are dating and just kind of trying to find somebody, they just wanted a free meal.
Oh, yeah.
And that's shitty. Don't do that, women, because then you give all of us a bad name, you know? Pay for your own shit if you're going to do that. Or why don't you just go for coffee or a drink? Don't make them pay for your stuff, because that's bad, you know? But yeah, he was just like, you know, he's such a nice person, but they were just like, oh, the free meal. And then, so finally he's just like, I don't want to do that anymore. So I just said, we can split the bill, or that, you know, so I get that part of it. But, you know, I think initially they should really just kind of offer and see that.
Yeah, I feel like the first date, especially, if a man was going to ask me out, I just automatically assume he's going to pay. And maybe that's a bad thing. But he asked me out, so he wants to treat me to a nice dinner or, like you say, coffee or something, wherever you're going to get to know that person. But so I automatically assume the first one is on them. Am I going to have my own cash just in case, you know, they're like, hey, we're splitting it or whatever? Yeah. I'm going to be prepared. But I just assume if they're asking me out, then that is something that I just expect.
But here's the devil's advocate on that, because if you guys didn't watch that show, Swipe, whatever, it's the story of the girl who created Bumble.
I saw that. That's a great show.
Great movie.
Definitely need to watch that.
I think isn't her name Lily Collins or something? The girl who was in it, she was awesome. But you know, she was a co-founder of what was the other one? Oh God, I know. Twitter. Tinder. She was a co-founder of Tinder, and then they didn't give her credit for it, and so she's like, all right, I'll show you. So she created Bumble. And so Bumble is where actually my husband and I met, and it's more women focused. So the woman decides who you know you're going to be with. So it's kind of hard when you say, well, if he's going to ask me out, because we're gearing society to have women have more of a voice and ask the men out, ask the men to get married and stuff like that. So if you're asking a man out, how are you expecting him to pay? You know what I mean?
That's where I think it's different. If you're whoever's doing the asking, then I think the assumption is because you ask them, you want to treat them.
Yeah. Or again, have a conversation and say, hey, you want to split this? Even before you start, say, hey, this is great. I'm so glad we met. You want to split the bill, or how do you want to do this beforehand? And then that's off your mind. Yes. You don't have to worry about the end of the date going, oh God, do I pay? Does he pay? What do we do? What, you know, it's not awkward. Just have a conversation with people, communicate.
And I think that's where, like, being from the South, I've always lived in Texas. I think that's maybe just an understanding here, because it's part of the gentleman, you know, thought process, that if a man's asking me out, he's just going to pay. Now, you know, what happens after that is different, right? But the first one is always usually on the man. So again, things have evolved and you have to look at it a little bit different. But for me, that was one of the things where, you know, I just see it a little bit different. But to your point, it's like, have a conversation. I didn't, you know, set everything up front so there aren't any, you know, misunderstandings or communication that breaks down. Okay, let's see. Lack of boundaries, kind of mentioned that. Unwanted advances, or possibly drinking too much. So you talked about in a couple of like that. It's like, hey, baby, you look great. Pop you on the ass. And it's like, okay, this is my first date with you or something. Or it's like,
that's definitely a good feeling.
Yes, it's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those.
Whoever's going on a date and doing that, stop.
Yeah.
And if somebody does that on the first date, do not have a second date with them.
Right. And I think along with the boundaries, it's like at the end of the date, what's the end? Is the girl or the guy, whoever, expecting a kiss at the end? Just be respectful and gauge how that's going to go. And it's okay to end a date and leave, and it just, well, you know, call me tomorrow or something, and not be that an expectation. So I think just boundaries, and along with that, don't cross those lines. Don't drink too much because then, you know, whoever the date is going to be out. So again, just respect boundaries. A lot of that. Be careful with that.
I wanted to touch on that because I watched a movie the other day, which is really weird that we're talking about this, because we didn't really talk about the movie, but I watched this movie called The Materialist, and I had heard it wasn't very good, but I'm like, I'm curious. I just want to, because I like the people in it. Pedro Pascal.
Oh, yeah.
What's her name? Dakota Johnson.
Oh,
from 50
love
Shades
her.
of Grey.
Oh, she's so beautiful.
And then Chris Evans, Captain America. He's so beautiful. But the three of them were in it. They're super A-listers, you know. So I'm like, okay, let's check it out. So I watched it, and it's really weird because all the stuff we're talking about is in there, you know, especially the red flags. They don't say the red flags, but it's basically about Dakota Johnson works at a dating place, like a matchmaking place. That's what it's called. And she sets people up with matches, you know. And of course, people have, especially in New York, they have these long lists of you got to have this, got to have that, you know. And she's like, okay, how about just the human part of it, you know?
Right.
And then the guys are like, well, okay, I want her to have this rockin' body with big boobs, and she's got to be 20 years old, and you're 50, and she's like, that's crazy, you know? You're not gonna, you know. So she ends up matching this one lady to a guy who checked all the boxes, and he SA'd her on the date. And it was so sad. It was really sad. And if you don't know what SA is, it wasn't a nice thing he did to her on the date. And he did that exactly. She was really excited because she paid this service, and she thought these were quality people. And this guy went out with her, got drunk, and then pushed her into a bathroom and did something with her. And she was mortified. And she was upset, obviously, but she was also upset with Dakota Johnson's character because she set her up with it. So it was kind of like she actually called her a pimp. I know, in the movie. So it was a really weird awakening and kind of sad. But it's not the greatest movie. I'll just say that it's interesting, but it's interesting because of the dating dynamics.
Yes,
And she starts dating Pedro Pascal because he's rich and hot, and they called him unicorns because as tall as he was, as beautiful, he was successsul, nice, you know. But she was really looking for true love, which was Chris Evans, who didn't have a lot of money. Who was trying to work but loved her unconditionally, and that's what you're looking for.
Yes.
It might not be the richest person, it might not be the hottest person, but you really have to look past all that to see where your foundation lies, and will you want to be with this person for 50 years,
right?
And when you're on that deathbed,
I think you've said it. The diamond in the rough.
That's what I have.
Looks are always going to go.
Yes,
and it's yes, you want to be attracted to the person you're with. However, it's like, again, are they nice underneath that? What are their foundational cores that they have about them?
Yes.
So it's like all the things we're talking about, all the horrible things step away. Look for that nice guy that may. That has all of the green flags.
Yeah.
But you can always grow to love somebody.
A couple of girlfriends. One of my girlfriends once said to me, we used to date really hot dudes, and had the great jobs, and just looked good, like arm candy, just like men do it to women. We could do it too, And then, but they were all dicks. And one of my girlfriends said to me, how do you find these people? How do you find these guys that you date? Because again, the 3 husbands that I have, to me, they were very good looking men, but they might not have been good looking to other people.
Right.
I saw them in a different light because either they made me laugh, they were very, very smart. I love intelligent men. And then also, like, they just treated me well for the most part, not including my ex-husband, forget about him, but but they might not have looked that Ken, Barbie and Ken, but that could change. My husband, I think I told you, my husband had a mullet when we got together, a mullet, and that was again only 7 years ago. And he wore he had 2 pairs of shoes, and he wore like clothes from the 80s, but that didn't matter to me,
right?
We could change all that. You could put different clothes on them.
Right.
You can cut their hair. You can, make them fashionable. And so it's the other stuff that's important.
Right. So let's see. I think I just have a couple of, the last 2 that I really have, and these we don't even need to elaborate on, and definite red flags. Any kind of verbal or physical abuse from the get-go. Yeah, don't look for potential, or you're going to change. And so that's all I'm going to say about that, because that is definitely, it is not going to change.
Nope.
And then lying and hiding things, enough said.
Yeah.
If you catch them in one thing, and it's going to lead to something else.
Yes.
Or if they're hiding things, well, this was a little thing. No. Why can't they be honest with you? So honesty goes with that too. Yeah. So those two, they're enough said. Those words, I think, capture it all. I think a lot of people have had that happen. And again, we're always looking for the best in people.
Right.
So those things are not going to change. I don't think how anybody can change unless you have therapy at some level. And it's like,
Well, it's all in the like trusting factor.
Yes.
I think red flags for me, when I was looking for somebody to settle down with, whatever, I just wanted them to be honest about their family and also their health. That's another thing. Ask questions. Yeah. Ask the questions, because some people may not just like come out and say, I've had a heart attack, or I've had a stroke, or I have to take 10 medications a day to keep my mind sane, which, hey, if you have to take medication, that's all great, do it, but are you going to be able to be okay with that? If you're younger and you want to start a family, what kind of DNA do they have, because whatever genetics they have, your kid's gonna probably have too, and before, like when we were growing up, that was never spoken about. No,
your family didn't even tell you what they had because they didn't know.
Right, they didn't know, and so now you really kind of have to talk about like, hey, what have you had in your past? Who have you had in your past? I honestly, I'll be honest, I did background checks on all the guys that I was going to think of seriously dating.
See, that's smart. I didn't do that.
I background checked. Hell yeah, I did. I had 3 kids, 2 girls at my in my house, and I didn't bring guys home. But like, if I thought that it was going somewhere, you're god dang right I did. I did a background check on all of them to make sure. And I found some weird things with some people. I'm just like, okay, that's a no.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I would go deep diving, also show social media. Look at their social media. Ask for it. If they don't have any, why don't they have any?
Right.
Who are they hiding from? Why are they not? Maybe they have a job that doesn't allow it. I can understand that.
That's different.
But if you have relationship after relationship after relationship, and you don't want women finding you, or you're dating all these women and you don't want them to mix together, there's just a lot of those red flags. So we in the time of social media, ask for that, for that, and mind you, they can still have hidden ones, but ask for the general ones. Ask for health things for sure. You don't know what people have and what they could have or whatever.
I think that's a helpful thing. The other thing I was thinking about is like, and this I think plays more along when you're older than more in your 20s, but are you financially sound?
Yeah.
Do you have credit card debt that's $1 million, and then I have great credit, and then I come in and I learn about that after the fact? Or, I had one ex that took out a credit card in my name, didn't even know until years later it showed up on I was trying to get a house, and here I have a judgment on a credit card that was in my name, and I'm like, I didn't do this. It was to Home Depot. I don't shop at Home Depot.
Definitely.
So
check financial.
To me, financial. So to me, that's a big thing, because if you're gonna, get in a relationship with this person long term, those things are important. So I think, we have a lot of red flags, but you really need to ask questions to eliminate some of those things, figure out the intent behind them. But what are you going to do? What can you work through and what you can't?
Exactly.
Are they a sound, stable person? So I think that's good. So I think that's, for the most part, some things, some of those I didn't encounter, but like the top 3 were mine. It's like, oh, why didn't I have somebody tell me that? The background check, I always trusted people, what they said, but you can't do that anymore. So that's good sound advice to do that. There's not anything wrong with that.
That's why it's out there.
That's how you protect yourself from being hurt in the long run.
For sure.
Alrighty, so that's my bitching about things that I wish I would have done, wish I would have paid attention, listened to my best friend when they said, I don't think this is going to work, that would, just go smack, this is not working, and then maybe, save yourself some
we were there when it went down, then we were there when it went down.
Yes, and then we're still here today.
Bitching and moaning.
The bitching and moaning about everything. So, so that's it for me.
Let's move on to our moaning.
Okay.
I'm going to moan.
You want to moan first?
I'll moan first.
Okay, all right. Because yours, I know what you're bringing, and this is a good one, and mine's,
All right, so in the near future, we will have some really exciting episodes coming up because we had a great weekend and we're going to talk about that. But right now, I'm going to moan about the one, the only... Harry Jousting.
Oh, Harry. Oh, my God.
Harry.
I'm going to turn like 16 in my face. And I feel like I'm getting hot. I'm blushing because, oh, my God, he's so fucking hot.
He is fucking hot.
I like my husband, but oh, my God.
When you watch TV and you see people on TV, you're like, are they really that good looking? Because they have like all this makeup on, women.
Are they really that tall?
God dang.
Oh my God,
he's hot.
Yeah, so I'm 5'3". You're what?
I'm 5'7".
He has to be 6'7". I don't know. I came underneath his shoulder, and I'm like,
let's start. Yeah.
So, oh my God, Harry.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. So we had a little adventure this past weekend, and coincidentally, we were waiting to get on an elevator.
Yes,
and the one and only Harry Jousting walks up.
Yeah.
And I think we just freaked out.
Yeah.
We freaked out.
So let me stop you right there for a minute. So if you don't know who Harry Jousting is, he is a reality person.
Celebrity,
and he's been on Too Hot to Handle, for one. And
then, I think that's where he started.
Yeah, he started on and then he was on another one, either Are You the One or another dating kind of thing. Yeah. And that's where I saw him from and thought he was just one of the most beautiful men I've ever seen in my life. And
he knows a lot of celebrities. Yes, he's made the round, and I don't mean like, he could have made the round that way, but he has his own skincare products now, and he's very successful, and he's just a nice guy. So we ran into him where we were at, and we were getting on an elevator. No.
Is he Australian?
No. He's from here. No, he's from here.
He sounded like he had an accent to me,
No,
but however he was talking, it just sounded amazing.
Yeah. No,
so,
anyway. I think he's from like New York or something.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, so
we'll figure that out.
We kind of freaked out a little bit. I think we were just in our own little world, and we were lucky enough to find our phones, get a picture, and talk to him briefly. And I'm telling you, he was just like the nicest guy.
Yes.
He was very, very sweet.
Yes, very,
very
sweet.
Nice to us. And on top of the hotness, it was just like, wow, some celebrities are just like, no, not now. He was not like that. It was like talking to our buddy,
Yeah.
And I think that's where the attraction really happened for me, was just like, he was just so down to earth and like having a normal conversation. And I'm just like, geez, he's hotter than you think without the looks.
Right.
So, I know he's getting ready to start filming or get ready for another series he's doing. Let's Marry Harry or something like that. I don't know.
Right.
Because I think he really wants to get married and have kids, which he's at that age where I think he's ready to settle down. He's had so much fun with people and stuff. But I think genuinely, maybe he really wants that. And
I think so too.
We have friends that are serial daters, and even though they want to, they don't settle down. But it just kind of sounds like he does.
Yeah, I got the impression from talking to him. There was like a genuineness to the way he was speaking that he really wants this, and it's like, I hope I find the one, or it's like, you just never know, because those shows do work out for people, and they've been married and some decades with kids, right? So they can work out. So, wish the best for him in that. We do wish the best.
And we're going to talk more about him in another episode, but that was my moaning. I mean, there was a lot of hot people where we were, a lot. And, let me just say that Mr. Jousting let us out of the elevator first.
Yes.
So thank you.
Gentleman.
Yeah,
very much a gentleman.
And I thought it was pretty awesome. I just thought it was nice. But anyways, yes, he is definitely my moaning this week. I think both of our moaning.
We got flustered at the beginning, and I'll just say a little thing about, he was so nice, so patient with us. And again, it was just us and him at the elevator.
Yeah.
And I not expecting to see a celebrity for one, but for it to be him. And we were really trying to find our phones and both digging in our purses like we were 13 or something. It was crazy. We were like, kind of thing, without going, in his face, But he was so patient.
Yeah, he was.
Because it felt like it was forever. It was probably 30 seconds, but it felt like it went on for an hour. We were digging trail. Who's going to, I got my phone, kind of thing. So anyway, very comical, but Oh, extremely nice.
We'll talk more about him in upcoming episodes. But thank you, Mr. Jowsey, for making us moan.
Yeah,
and
you're amazing. You are amazing.
And we wish you the best of luck.
Okay, so I have one. It's a little different. It's more of a inspirational moan. Because I saw this the other day in Women Supporting Women.
Yes.
Right. So some people may have seen this, but they just had the Ironman World Championship in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And there is a woman there. Her name is Natalie Grabeau. I hope I said her name right. She's 80 years old. She's from Mountain Lakes, New Jersey. And she became the oldest woman to finish that competition, which, what I was reading, it is the hardest one to do. She's 80 years old.
80 years old. Okay.
She started doing Ironmans in her 60s. Yep. And so she's been doing this a long time. She has like a trainer and everything. And one of her things that she does is she looks and watches how the men compete to see how she can beat them.
Nice.
So she's trying, what can I do to make myself better? So she is an inspirational moan.
Yes.
I mean, 80 years old. So that just tells you 80 is a number. So, and I think she did it, it was like in 16 hours or something.
Wow.
And there's 3, if you've never seen Ironman, there's a swimming part to that, a bike ride to that, and then a run. I can hardly walk. Some days when I'm tired, I can barely walk to the mailbox to get my mail without pulling a hamstring or something because I just haven't worked out that week. But an inspirational moan, I strive to be that active, and she looks so young. So y'all be sure to go check her out, Natalie Grabeau. Read about her story. Inspirational moan, supporting women. That is amazing. I can't even imagine trying to accomplish that. So I have that type of moan. We moan about all kinds of things, but mine is inspirational. She's just amazing. Amazing story.
I'll tell you a little story, and I'm going to shout out to one of my aunts. She's actually my godmother, and she lives in Florida, and she does all of that. She's in her 60s, and she does triathlons. She runs. She goes. She used to go like look in caves and stuff. She was a scientist in Florida, and she worked in the Everglades. And then she was also a professor. But she's just a smart woman. But then now that she's retired, she goes and does all these athletic stuff too. And she did a triathlon, and she also did one of these things. I'm gonna get the name wrong, but it's this walk that you do, and it's in, I want to say, Brazil or some Spanish country, but it's like a 500-mile walk.
Oh my God.
You do it, I think, maybe for about a week. And so you walk all this trail, and it's more about kind of a religious thing. You stop at different places, and there's like hostels to stay at, or people have like, they're not really Airbnbs, but like where they stay that they know these people are walking the trail of it.
Yeah.
I'll put it up here. There's pictures of it, but she does that. She did that too. And it's just, she is very inspirational to me.
Yeah.
I always think that she just goes above and beyond her brains.
Yeah.
She does a lot of stuff like that. And so kudos to those women who do all that.
Inspirational moans.
Yes, moans to inspirational.
Yeah.
Things,
so I think that's our stuff today. But I just want to, and I know you probably want to, just a quick little shout out to the people that we met this weekend. We have new subscribers and new people on Instagram.
We're so excited.
Yes.
We loved every single one of the people we met.
Yes.
And they were so, we met a lot of women this weekend, and we met amazing a lot of people this weekend. And the person who was doing the whole event we went to, shout out, girl.
Yeah.
You did
Alex love
Cooper. You did an amazing job, and we are inspired.
Yes, another inspirational woman. So shout out to all our new friends, our new watchers and stuff. We're so happy you're here. Yeah. So, okay.
And stay tuned for the weekend of shenanigans.
We have so much stuff.
And bitchin' and moaning.
Yeah, bitchin' and moaning.
So keep bitchin' and moaning, and we'll see you next time.
All righty. Bye, y'all.
Bye.